Hello and welcome to Ferris Sports Update. I'm your host, Rob Bentley, and thanks for tuning in. On today's show, we'll talk Bulldog football as it was National Signing Day this past week for the Bulldogs. We'll also check in with the men's and women's basketball teams as they continue GLIAC play. We'll start first, though, with Bulldog football and joined by assistant coach Tesfa Smith. And, Coach, first of all, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me, Rob.
I know it's been a while since we've talked football, obviously, since late November, and I know a lot's went on in terms of the football staff since the season really came to an end.
Yeah, we got right to work as soon as the season ended, trying to recruit kids. It first started with trying to get some transfers in, and then, once we rolled around in December, we got to high schools and getting on the road, trying to set up visits. We had some few commits going into December, but, just visiting them and, staying in touch with them and getting them on campus in January. And, we, finished it off in last week with signing day. But we've been busy since the end of the season. So it was rewarding, getting the class we were able to put together. And it's been a while since we've gotten to work that early. We've been very fortunate the previous two seasons of going all the way into January and, trying to play catch up. But so we really did a great job of just zeroing in on kids and developing a great relationship with those kids and then putting together a really great, strong recruiting class.
I know, obviously, you're kind of like me. You love National Signing Day, but you also like when it's all said and done, a lot of hard work that really went in and time and effort went into securing that class.
Yeah, we were, like we said, we did a great job of, solidifying the state of Michigan, but also going into Florida and, getting quite a few kids out of the state of Florida. And so it was really fulfilling because, like I said, there's a lot of hard work, a lot of time. And then to see it come to, conclusion, and signing day was, pretty rewarding and relaxing, so.
I know 37 signees, part of this year's class, a big class here for the Bulldogs. You mentioned 25 from Michigan and 10 or 11 from the state of Florida, and that's kind of been a recruiting pipeline for you guys going to the state of Florida each and every year.
Yeah, we've had a lot of success, with Michigan, in developing our kids. In Michigan, but also, getting some kids out of the state of Florida and getting them here. And if you look at our roster from this past season, the amount of kids from Florida that ended up playing significant snaps for us. So Florida is important for us. And, me being from the state, I enjoy going down there and recruiting those kids. And for me, it's easy because I can talk about my experiences of being up here in the Midwest and, them finding some sense of comfort and relate, But we've got a strong pipeline from the state of Florida if you look at our roster this past season. So it's very important.
How important is it not only for the guys from the state of Florida, maybe from other schools across the state of Michigan to have maybe the former teammates, people they know already here on campus and get a chance really to get a feel for Ferris State?
Yeah, so there's so much, when you're talking about the state of Michigan, it's just really, for us, it's kind of, easy because everyone's familiar with the successes we've had the past two seasons. So walking into those high schools, and then all the kids that are in our, from the state of Michigan that are currently on our team and, recruiting those kids. And there's a lot of relationships and prior relationships with the current guys and to the guys we were recruiting. So it just makes, your job a little bit easier, but, it was good.
I know, obviously, when you go out and recruiting, the coaches kind of split up the duties. You mentioned you being in Florida, and I know some other coaches went down there as well, and maybe talk about how that works in terms of a coaching staff.
Yeah, well, so three of us went to Florida. I went down to South Florida because that's where I grew up. Coach Anise hit the Orlando area, and then Coach Rock hit the Gulf side. And, when we go down there and, collect as much data. We identify, Coach Steve Anise actually identifies all the kids in the state of Florida that we think we should recruit, and we've identified them, and that's a list of about 100. And out of that 100, we narrow that list down to about 50 or 60, and then we go down to those high schools and see if those 60 kids are available. And from that list, we try to narrow it down to about 20 or 30 and bring them up on official visits, and then, after those 30 kids, we try to sign anywhere between 10 to 15 kids from down there. So it's a lot of hard work, there's a lot of evaluation, a lot of, talking, with kids going to high schools, doing home visits and stuff like that. And then, getting them up here. Our first recruiting weekend was all the state of Florida. And we had about 19 kids that we were going to bring up from the state of Florida, but unfortunately we had a snowstorm. so that day when we were trying to bring them up, we were on the phone that morning with Coach, and he was like, I don't know if we're going to get all these guys up here. Maybe we should tell them to cancel. So we spent that morning trying to cancel a lot of visits and reschedule those visits. But fortunately, we were able to get 6 of those 19 kids up here, and yeah, we made best do with that day. So
I know, obviously, you guys put emphasis not only on great players, but
Yeah.
great players that had a lot of success in terms of their team success in their high school careers.
Yeah, that's one of Coach's requirements, or not really requirements, but one of his big identifiers is recruiting kids from winning programs. And if you look at some of the kids that we've signed, a majority of kids, they were all from playoff teams, and quite a few of them are from state finals or state championship teams. So it's when you recruit those kind of guys, they understand the level of commitment it takes to push for a long season, and that's everything we've strived for is these long seasons, and those guys understand what it's going to take to endure a 20-week season. So it's an easy transition when you're recruiting those kind of guys because they understand the level of commitment it's going to take.
I know before these guys get here in the fall, obviously a lot of work to do with the current guys that are still here on campus, and spring ball starting soon. Maybe talk about what the attitude has been like with the guys through winter conditioning.
Yeah, so as much as important as it is to put together a strong recruiting class, you can't neglect the current guys, because ultimately those guys are the guys who are going to be playing for you in the 24 season. So we got right to work as soon as those guys got back in January. Coach TD's done a great job with getting them up and working them out, and then we just started conditioning. And so we've been conditioning and weightlifting along with recruiting, putting together our class. So, but I will say that the current roster, the current guys are working really hard and really excited to get into spring and see. More, if I'm just talking about my position group, there's a lot of gaps to be filled, a lot of holes to be filled, I should say, from the guys that played for us last year and the guys that are this year. So it would be very interesting to see, how their development went throughout the off season, going into spring ball and then leading up into the summer.
Obviously, the full schedule going to be announced soon for the fall, but one game that's already been announced is the season opener, week 0, the new week 0 against Pittsburgh State. Maybe talk about what kind of an opportunity that is really to see where your guys are at early on.
It's going to be awesome. Playing a team with that kind of caliber. I thought, when we played them in 2022, I thought that was easily one of the best teams we played. And even this past season, I thought they were one of the best teams in the country. So for us to open up against a team with that kind of caliber is a great barometer to see where we're at, and if we can just get in that game and play the way we think we're capable of playing and get out there, the results will take care of itself, so.
Well, Coach, thanks for the time. Congrats on a great National Signing Day class, and looking forward to spring ball and obviously the 2024 season.
Thanks, Rob.
We'll be back with more Ferris Sports Update right after this.